KIRO, Seattle.
This is COVID-19 Seattle. I'm Dave Ross.
And I'm Aaron Granillo.
Seattle's parks stay open this weekend, but with some restrictions. What the new normal looks like at city parks and farmers markets.
There are many, many rules that must be followed.
I can't wait to hear what they are.
Washington braces for a tsunami of new unemployment claims.
There are hundreds of thousands, if not more, who will now be eligible for unemployment assistance.
How the state is ramping up to roll out new benefits.
Plus, boarded up businesses become the canvas of an art walk in Seattle.
Stay right here.
Unlike last weekend, parks will remain open across Seattle tomorrow and Sunday, but Mayor Jenny Durkin says people have got to keep it moving.
Last weekend, we had to close the parks because we saw there were too many crowds. What we're going to do is impose a new normal at our parks. And we're asking all of Seattle to please help us because we want to keep the parks open.
Here's what that new normal will look like.
If you go to your neighborhood park and it's crowded, keep walking. No barbecues, no volleyball games, no group gatherings. We really need to still take this very seriously.
She says parking lots at all major parks will be closed while playgrounds and sports fields will also remain off limits.
And there are specific rules for both Seward Park and Green Lake. Their loop trails will be open only to pedestrians, and Green Lake will be one-way only.
City is also closing off 2.5 miles of residential streets in the Central District and West Seattle starting tomorrow. That'll give more people room to walk and bike while maintaining their social distance.
Mayor Durkin says Parks and Recreation ambassadors will monitor conditions over the weekend.
We've seen in other countries and area that let up how the virus suddenly comes back. And we know how hard it's been over the last 6 weeks. We don't want to start over again.
And the mayor is serious about this. She says she will close parks again if there are too many gatherings or too many people.
Joining us now to announce the reopening of a couple of farmers markets in Seattle. Hard to believe, but it's true. Here's Rachel Bell. So which farmers markets are reopening?
Okay, so they're opening 2 in Seattle that are open year-round usually. So that's the Ballard Market and the University District Market. Now, when everything shut down, the market shut down as well because, they are essential, which is why they're reopening because they sell food, but they are also a place for social gathering. And unlike the grocery stores that can be more regulated, the farmers market, especially in nice weather, obviously tends to be just like big clumps of people smushed together.
Yes.
So they are reopening this weekend. But of course, Dave, there are many, many rules that must be followed.
I can't wait to hear what they are.
Okay, I love listing rules. So there are some rules that apply to the vendors and the staff and then some for the shoppers. So as far as the staff is concerned, not the vendors, but the market staff, they are actually going to be taking temperatures of people as they show up. And if someone has a fever, they get sent home. That's only for the market staff. Mm-hmm. Then they're going to be doing the 6 to 10 feet of distance between the vendor booths. They're going to do a limited market entrance, so you can't just walk in wherever and go willy-nilly.
So there's controlled entry to this then?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
There's going to be sinks actually set up and hand sanitizer. They're not going to have music or entertainment or cooking demos. You can no longer touch the food. You kind of have to point to what you want and they will pick it out for you.
Right.
So they suggest that you make a list before you go. This is not a social occasion. They don't want people just wandering around. They want you to get in and get out. You can go to the website for the Seattle Farmers Markets and see what they have right now. And then you can also do pre-orders and prepay from some of the vendors, which they recommend. Don't come if you're sick. Don't bring your dog, 6 feet, all that kind of stuff. And they really want people to wear masks.
Okay, so will they be able to handle the same capacity as they were able to handle under the old rules? And does this mean, if they're restricting entry and the same number of people show up, there's going to be a line, right? Which would imply people bunching together to get in.
Oh, that's a good point. Well, if it's like they do it at Trader Joe's, there'll be 6 feet between each person in the line. Mm-hmm. They're requesting that only one person from the household come. Again, it's not a social event. And they're hoping that if people order ahead of time, they can just come and quickly pick up. But yeah, they're not going to let you crowd around each booth. They're going to allow just a couple people at a time. So I personally go to the market almost every weekend and I hardly buy anything. I go completely for the aesthetics. So I'm not going to go because this is not for me.
So is the official recommendation that you only go if you're there to shop for groceries? Do serious grocery shopping? Is that the idea?
Yes, very serious, Dave. But they did point out that quote, big smiles welcome. This isn't the time to chat. Big smiles welcome is what they said. So
what about masks?
The people working there have to wear masks, and you are recommended to wear one as a visitor.
Okay. But you're not going, huh? Because I'm guessing that this doesn't sound like fun to you.
No, it doesn't. I'm going to go get my pesticide lettuce at the regular store.
Nearly 600,000 residents in the states have now collected unemployment or asked for it. And as of tomorrow, more people will be able to apply.
That includes independent contractors, self-employed workers, and those with fewer than 680 hours.
Susie Levine is the state's Employment Security Commissioner. She says her department is now updating its system to begin handling the surge.
This all has to do with that $2 trillion federal relief package, which opened up unemployment benefits to more Americans, and it includes people who are self-employed or independent contractors. But you will need to upload your wages so they can be reviewed, and while they're being reviewed, they want to make sure you have money. So during that interim period, the state promises to provide the weekly minimum benefit plus the extra $600 from the Federal CARES Act. There is a backlog in claims, but the Employment Security Department promises payments will be retroactive to the date that your job was lost.
And Levine also cautioned this is going to be a bit of a clunky process. She called the website a little bit of a bare bones experience. But since the start of COVID-19 job losses in early March, the state has now paid out more than $270 million in benefits to Washingtonians. That number will certainly rise.
And the whole idea is to keep companies together. The money is conditioned on your employer keeping you on the job so that once this is all over, everything can go back to normal, which I'm sure it will. Right, Aaron?
One day, don't know when, but yes, things will go back to normal. By 2022 is what I'm starting to see, huh?
Oh, you mean when the West Seattle Bridge is finally replaced?
I want to take you now on a trip to Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood, where boarded-up businesses are now turning into pieces of art. KIRO Radio's Miley Katie joins us with that story. Hey there, Miley.
Hi, Aaron.
Okay, so you were walking through Capitol Hill because you live there, right?
Yeah, and it is a very colorful neighborhood in general. I live near the Pike and Pine corridor, which is, there's Broadway right there, so there's a lot of very popular bars and restaurants, and usually a lot of people, and there are some sort of rotating walls that have murals on them, but I have been walking there in the last few weeks, and there's just been this explosion of coronavirus color and art, and it's like a pandemic-inspired art walk. So when the stay-at-home order was issued, businesses boarded up their windows in order to protect the property and glass from breaking during the closure. When the board started coming up, muralist and yoga teacher Morgan Zion says that people started tagging them with paint right away.
Some of the artists were like, oh my God, this is a blank canvas. You know, that I have to create. It's like we, as artists or muralists, you're compelled when you see a wall to want to fill it, which is why graffiti is the way it is. It's like ingrained in us to just be like, oh my God, I need it.
Zion says that businesses wanted artists to do it and even in some cases commissioned the work. She was approached by several owners who she teaches yoga to, owners from Molly Moon's Ice Cream and Sam's Tavern, separate people but different businesses, to paint murals for them during the closure. So she has done at least 6 murals in that neighborhood, but almost every business there in the corridor has some kind of brightly colored artwork on it. The door to Oddfellows Cafe is painted with the words, "Love letters here," with an arrow pointing to their mail slot. On Pike, someone wrote, "You are essential." And in another spot, "I can't wait to see you again," on a wall. Just down the block, there's even a neon portrait of a man with a blonde mullet holding a tiger.
Tiger King.
Yes, very good, Aaron. Yes. Okay. Very good. I mean, if you haven't watched it while on quarantine, you've heard about it nonstop.
Certainly.
So Zion says that she hopes when people see all of the artwork that they feel a sense of resilience, that the businesses may be closed for now, the streets may be quiet, but there's also reason to be optimistic about the future.
I look at it more of like, this is a way to brighten the city. This is a way to make people smile. This is a way to like bring hope.
That's today's edition of COVID-19 Seattle. Have a good weekend, and we will see you Monday.